The first 10 minutes of your Checkride oral are the most important 10 minutes of the whole thing, and almost nobody tells you what actually happens in them. Here's the truth: it's not an interrogation. The examiner isn't trying to trick you, but how you handle this first few questions sets the tone for the entire oral. It can make you feel calm and confident, or it can make you feel flustered and behind. So let me walk you through exactly what happens, question by question, so you can walk in ready. I'm Habib. I'm a flight instructor and I'm the director of Aero Global Aviation Academy here in Kissimmee, Florida. I've prepped a lot of students for this exact moment, and I've sat in on a lot of check ride debriefs. And the students who start strong almost always finish strong because these first questions are the most predictable part of the whole exam. Stick around to the end of this video. I have a free brief that walks through 10 of this with the answers that pass. So you sit and start the check ride with the examiner. The first few minutes are administrative. The examiner checks your ID, they check your medical, your logbook endorsements. They also check your written results and they confirm you're eligible for the check ride. Nothing scary. Just make sure you have everything organized and you should be fine. But somewhere in here, a lot of examiners ease in with a question about you. He or she may ask, "Are you feeling okay to fly today?" Here's where students recite the IMSAFE checklist like a spelling test. They say illness, medication, stress, alcohol, fatigue, emotion, and they stop. The answer that lands is to actually apply it honestly. You can say, "I'd run the IMSAFE checklist as a real self assessment, not a quiz." Then tie in your medical currency. For private pilot, a third class medical is good for 60 calendar months if you were under 40 at the time of your exam. It's 24 months if you were 40 or older, with basic med as an alternative. And if something on that list is a real factor, that's the safe checklist, the professional answer is, "I don't fly." Examiners respect you saying, "I'll grant myself," far more than someone explaining the symptoms away. Next, the examiner asks about the airplane. And one of the first real questions they can ask you is a version of, uh, they can say, "How do you know this airplane is airworthy today?" Most students jump straight to say it's had its annual or 100-hour inspection done. That's very simple. The answer that passes starts with the definition. Airworthy means two things. The aircraft conforms to its type certificate and it's in a condition for safe operation. Then you can show the inspections with the acronym Aviate, that's AV1ATE, annual every 12 calendar months, VOR every 30 days, but only for IFR, and 100-hour only if it's used for hire. Altimeter and pedostatic inspections every 24 calendar months for IFR, transponder inspections every 24 calendar months, and ELT every 12 calendar months. And then confirm the airworthiness directives are complied with. And a nice touch you can use to finish is to actually say which ones apply to your VFR flight today. For example, like the annual on the 100-hour inspection, the transponder, and the ELT inspections. That shows you understand the rule, not just the acronym. That airworthiness question almost has a follow-up. The examiner can be like, "Okay, what if something on the airplane is inoperative? Can you still fly?" This one is a decision tree, not a yes or no question. You want to walk through the FAR Part 91.213 in your FAR. With no minimum equipment list, I ask in this order, is the item required by the type certificate or the equipment list? Is it required by 91.205 for this flight? Is it required by an airworthiness directive? And finally, is it required by any other regulation? If it's required by any of those, we don't fly. If it isn't, apply cardiac inoperative, remove or deactivate the inoperative equipment, and then, as a pilot in command, I make the final call on whether it's safe to fly the airplane. Remember, the magic words the examiner is listening for are in order. So you go through those things in order. It's a sequence, not a guess. Now, examiner can shift to the flight itself using the cross country you planned and the weather. A classic question here is, what are the VFR weather minimums for the airspace we'll be flying in? Don't try to recite the entire chart from memory. That's how people freeze. You want to anchor to the common case and build out. In controlled airspace below 10,000 feet, in class Charlie, Delta, and Echo, it's 3 statute miles visibility, and 500 feet below, 1,000 feet above, and 2,000 feet horizontal. Class Bravo is simpler. You need 3 statute miles visibility and stay clear of clouds. Then flag the exceptions. Class Golf, below 1,200 feet AGL, is 1 mile visibility and clear of clouds by day, but 3 miles visibility with standard clearances at night. And at or above 10,000, it opens up to 5 miles. So learn the 3152 rule for controlled airspace as one chunk, then hang the exceptions around it. Suddenly, it's not a chart to memorize, it's just one rule with a few edges you have to remember. Tied right into that VFR minimums and go or no go is your flight planning, which brings me to the fuel question. How much fuel are you required to have on board? Students usually get this half right. Under FAR Part 91151 for VFR, you need enough fuel to fly to your first point of your intended landing and then continue at normal cruise for 30 minutes by day or 45 minutes at night. The two things people miss is it's measured to the first point of intended landing, and day and night are different. So make sure you remember that. And a great way to close off this sort of question is you can say that's the legal minimum. Personally, I plan a bigger fuel reserve as part of my personal minimums. That statement alone turns a memorized number into evidence of judgment. Here's what I want you to take away today. Those first 10 minutes felt scary because they were unknown. But look at them now. Are you fit to fly? Is the airplane legal? What if something is broken? And what's the weather? Do you have fuel? That's it. It's the most predictable and the most rehearsable part of the entire check ride. And every one of those answers came down to the same thing, not knowing more, but explaining what you know out loud and in the right order. Now, one honest thing I like to say is don't treat this like a rigid script. Every examiner is different. Some may open exactly like this, others may jump straight to the airplane, or start with a cross country, or mix up the entire order completely. That's normal. And it's fine because the goal was never to memorize an entire sequence. The goal is to understand the material and how it all ties together. When you actually get how airworthiness connects to inoperative equipment, how the go slash no go connects to weather and fuel, then it doesn't matter what order the questions come in or which examiner is testing you. You're ready for any of it. So whether your examiner runs it exactly this way or their own way, you can explain this cold. You can walk in calm and confident, and the examiner starts trusting you early. That changes everything. So here's that free brief I promised. It's 10 oral exam questions, just like the ones we've just walked through, each with a thin answer, the answer that passes, and a tip for each one. Make sure you read it and then practice saying each one out loud because that's the skill the oral actually tests. If you're watching this on YouTube, it's in the description. If you're watching on TikTok or Instagram, just comment the word oral and I'll send it over to you. And when you want the whole thing, so every ACS area taught exactly like this, plus a mock oral you can rehearse against, that's the pilot ground briefs course. Make sure you use the same link. Subscribe if this took some fear out of the whole check ride process for you. I post these videos every week. At Aero Global, that's what we do. Here's where pilots are made. I'm Pilot Habib. Remember to train smart and fly confident, and I'll see you in the next one.